Hello everybody, this is Kimberly from Starfish Designs. I'm not doing a live video this time. I'm demonstrating my new bag. I hope you guys will like it. I think it's a lot of fun. I forgot to grab a zipper. Let me grab a zipper. As far as I'm aware, nobody else has done something like this. I have a 90 needle in here because I was working on vinyl earlier, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave that 90 needle in since I'm not doing any embroidery. If you were doing embroidery, you would want to switch to a 75 needle for the basic piecing of the bag and switch to a 90 for the last few steps, especially if you're using vinyl because it gets very thick. I hope I have the right file. Doesn't tell me the name. I'm going to do a quick test to make sure that it fits. You should always do that, especially when you're doing a new pattern, because you never know if something got messed up by the digitizer. Digitizers are not perfect. We're human beings and we make mistakes, and if you don't do a test, then it's possible that you could end up breaking the needle and hitting the side of your machine hoop. So I'm also going to change my thread color so it matches my project. So that was okay, and I do hope you'll be able to see this okay. I had to put this on the view to make it the right direction, so I can't look at you guys in the screen like I can if I'm doing a live video. And I know a lot of people don't like chit chat. Sorry, I'm a chit chatter. I will try to do as fast as I can because I actually have to pick up my son soon. But I thought I might have enough time to do this because it's actually quite a quick stitch out once you get going on it. Alright, of course my needle threader is not going to agree with me today. Sometimes, I swear, sometimes I can get it on the first try, and other times I can't. So, okay, I don't know why it's not letting me do that. Nope. Okay, I'll try and turn the handrail and do the lock thing. Make sure that works. It's possible that the needle is just off, just a tad bit. Alright, all else fails, do it the old-fashioned way. Which is not as easy for me because I'm getting those old eyes now. Hope I'm not too much in the video because I'm a little bit of a hot mess. I took the day off today because I'm just exhausted mentally from work. And I had the one day I only had one meeting and didn't really need to be at it, so I've just been chilling out in bed. Today is the 24th of July, I believe, so this day will live on in infamy because it was the day of the Mueller report, Mueller testimony. Okay, so I'm going to run step one. Get my zippers ready while I do that. Oh, I didn't show you guys what we're making. Alright, here is what we're making. I'm going to stand up to make sure I'm in the full view of the camera. I am. This is what we're making, the flat-bottomed girl zipper bag. That was my test with vinyl. This will work with a light, I repeat, a very light vinyl. You do not want to try and use a heavy marine vinyl or glitter vinyl with this design. And you'll see why in a minute. And I will try and highlight to you why. But that was the my embroidery seafoam metallic that I tested with. apologize. Normally I would have this part done. Hope I don't run out of battery life. But it really is that fast of a stitch out. So like any of our zipper pouches, we're going to go ahead and tack our zipper down. Now there's 3 lines here, but the top line is actually not the zipper line like is normal in my patterns, because we're doing a faux top open zipper. And I say faux because a true top open zipper requires that you fold the zipper tape on top of itself. In my tests have shown that these single needle machines can't really support that. So what we're going to do is we're going to line this tape up, and we want the ribbon of the zipper tape to line up with the bottom of this line. Yes, you guys can see me. I'm going to put this light on and see if that helps a little bit with the light. Is that a little better? I think it is. The most important thing, in my opinion, is to make sure that the hold on 1 second, guys. Somebody's at my door. I'm not interested, thank you. Okay, sorry about that. I don't have battery time to be fussing with this, but these people come to our door and make sure to try and sell us some other energy supplier, and I am not about that. Okay, so the most important thing is when you're laying down your zipper tape, make sure that your seam, the middle of your zipper, is aligned with this line. And normally it would be the middle line. In this case, it's still the middle line, but that's what you want to make sure. Because on my designs, I do that because not all of the zippers are the same width. You'd like to think they are, but they're not. So what I do is I tape one end down, I pull the zipper up. I don't know if you can see me right now, but I apologize about that. So I pull up one end to make sure and tape that down. Then I flip my hoop around and I do the same thing. I pull up and make sure that the zipper is still even on that teeth and make sure it's there. And then I try and hold it tautly and then tape it down. Now this is a really long zipper, so if you do not tape it down in the middle a couple of places, and again this one is Coates and Clark, so it's exactly 1 inch, so if I line it up right on my line I should be good, but not all of them will be like that. So if you don't tape down, I'm trying to tape just the very edge so that I do not get the tape in the thread. It's not the end of the world if you do, but it's just so much easier. And I'm sorry, my dog is gonna be yelling here at me. I'm gonna go put her in the cage and try and get her to quiet down. Of course, she has to do this as soon as I start doing the video, just like any other animal or kid. Well, I go put her in the cage. I have that all tacked down. I'm gonna go ahead and run step 2. And step 2 is just the zipper tack down. And it helps keep our zipper in place so it doesn't get all gobbledygook while we're moving. And I will be right back. Sorry about that. I apologize if she barks. I'm going to try and get through this as fast as I can. Okay, so when you get done with this step, this is an easy step to reverse if you have to. Make sure that your zipper looks pretty even. Mine does. Did a good job. If it doesn't, remove your tape, remove your zipper and the stitches, and redo it. Now is very important. This sets the stage for the entire bag. If it's not even here, your final zipper review on your bag is not going to be even and it won't look as good. Okay, so now we're going to take our lining. You have two lengths of lining. You're going to have a short one. This is 11.5 inches, and a longer one. Make sure I got this in the right direction. Okay, so set aside your longer one for right now. Take your short piece, put it in the back, and line it up so it's upside down. So the fabric is right side down. It's upside down on the hoop and lined up with the bottom of the zipper tape. And then go ahead and put your tape down. I'm going to be interchanging between this transport tape and the pink tape, just because I have some tapes sitting here. Okay, so put that there. Now you're going to have to figure out a management for your thing, and I forgot to turn this around. Doggone it. I meant to, see, my hoop is over here, my hardware, so now this is going to be in my way. So it's only going to be in my way for a minute. I'm going to just kind of roll it up and tape it down out of the way so it's not in the way. I meant to reverse mine, and so that's something I forgot to mention to you. I don't think it's an issue for anybody but us Genomes. I don't know why Genome has the arm on this side. Okay, so we're good there. I'm going to put that down. Now we're going to take our exterior panel. It's one long piece. I have put Decoville Light on mine because I'm using quilting cotton to make it a little bit more stable, and it's going to go, again, you're going to have to do some fabric management here, so I'm actually going to wait and put it on after I put it on the hoop, but it's also going to line up with the bottom of your hoop here, or I'm sorry, of your tape. By tape I mean zipper tape. So let me put this back on, and I'm going to do that while it's in the hoop. Center it, and I did try to set these instructions to be pretty generous on the cutting, but if you're scared, you can always make yours a little bit longer. Okay, I'm going to tape this down. So again, right even with the bottom of the zipper. When you do that, you're going to get, between the regular stitching and the top stitching, you're going to get approximately close to 1/2 inch of security on this. So now, since I have this over here, I'm going to roll it a little bit, and I'm going to kind of try and hold it out of the way with my hand while I do this tack down stitch. Because again, I forgot to reverse mine. So this is just a tack down, and it's securing our materials to our zipper. After this, we can remove that extra tape on the right hand side of the zipper. And when I say right hand side, I'm talking about in regard to the actual finished bag, not the hoop. It may look maybe on the end, but for yours. Okay. And my machine actually has a little lift where I can lift it a little bit farther out of the way. Okay, move the tape. I'm going to pull this tape out too. Oop, that actually severed it. I'm going to pull this pink one out because I don't need that over here anymore. And I can actually just go ahead and cut off this extra ribbon tape. Throw that out of the way. Leave your pink tape over here though, because this is the side that has your zipper pull and you don't want to mess that up. So now we're going to go to the back, remove the tape. I have tape all over this test table. I put this right in front of my window, so sometimes it's good, but when I'm trying to take pictures for the pattern, not so good to have that direct light because it washes out the pictures. Okay, so now I'm going to roll this back down, and this is going to stay. I'm going to lightly press this with my finger, and this is not going to move anymore. So tape this down and hold it in place. And the same thing here. Now put this against a hard surface and press it down with a pressing device, or in my case I'm using my finger. And this is a little bit firm because I used that Decoville on it. And I lost the tape again. Okay. Now this is going to be secured down for 1 minute, and then we're going to flip it out of the way. So this is important to note. If you want to add embroidery to this, you need to do it after this step, and I'll show you what I mean. I'm not adding any embroidery. I'm using a really pretty fanciful fabric here. Okay, this is the top stitch. This is going to secure down nicely the top and the bottom. And this zipper was folded in the package. I should have touched it with an iron because it's now a little bit wobbly from the fold. And this is just a 3.5 inch or 3.5 millimeter top stitch. Okay. Now, if you want to add embroidery to this, you want to pull up the lining on the back and tape it out of the way, and then your embroidery cannot go past, you'll see in the pattern, the pleat marks that are going to be right here. Your embroidery cannot go past that. Okay, so for now though, we need to move this out of the way because we're going to create a seam for our bag. And this is going to create our turning hole. Now, I'm going to pull this up because I actually did make it too long. So to make your life easier, right here, everything is going to be lined up with this, all the pleats. So line up your fabric and lightly press along there. Lightly, because you're on your hoops in the back here. And then you just need another 1/2 inch there. So if you want, you can fold it. Mine actually was already ironed there. And then you could trim this extra out of the way now if you want, just to make it easier. But we want our second piece of fabric to go 1/2 inch past this line, which is right here. So you want it to be 1/2 inch past that line. That's our seam allowance. So line it up here first and center it. Make sure it's even with this fabric and then pull this out. Okay? That way you know it's covered if your fabric is a little bit too wide. And again, we're going to tape this down. And I always say it's better to have a little bit of waste than to mess up. Tape it down on both sides. All right. Make sure you do your fabric management. My hoop is going to go there, so I'm going to roll this up a little bit. It's not going to stitch up here, so I'm okay to leave it up there. I'm going to put this back on my hoop. And my top is going to be here in the way, but I'll pull that out of the way in 1 second. Let me get it latched. Okay, I'm going to hold this out of the way and press our foot down, and I'm going to create the seam for our turning hole. Okay, then you can pull this off, and we're going to pull the lining down. I do a little bit of back stitching because you're going to be, it takes a lot of stress when you turn it. Okay, now we're going to take this off. Okay, got tape here in the way. All right, now we're going to go ahead and see, now we just created this, and we're going to turn the pouch right there. We're going to flip this down for right now for the next step. And here's where it gets fun. Now lightly, again, lightly finger press. And if you finger press all the way here, you already get your little seam there for the closing of the bag. Okay? This is going to come down here. Tape it into place if you need to. It's pretty weighty, so I don't think I need to tape mine in place. Right? Press your foot down. And this is pleat 1. Now you are going to have to keep an eye out and make sure, especially once we get to the D-rings, that you don't hit anything. I just realized I don't drop my D-ring material. Okay. Hoop off. Flip it. Now we have our first pleat, and it actually comes right up with the seam, so that's fine. But we didn't want to seam through stitch through our seam. If we had left this down, we would have ended up stitching through it, and we didn't want to do this. So that's why we had to pull it down. Okay, now we're gonna tape. And again, fabric management, roll that out of the way if you need to so it avoids your hoop. Everything's gonna be stitching right down here where these pleats are. So you can just lightly press that out of the way. Make sure it's even under here. Okay, now we have our little stitches here. We're gonna pull this up. Don't pull too hard. It should be pretty much even with that original placement line. You make sure it's even on the sides, and then you wanna fold it. This is a good time to have a boning tool. I have misplaced my boning tool, so I'm just using my fingers. Rub this against a hard surface. The better you do this now, but don't disrupt your frame. The better you do this now, the better the outcome. So now that's our pleat is done. We're gonna go ahead and again tape it down if you need to. I don't need to because mine is pretty weighty. And again, remember I have a size 90 needle in here because I have Decoville light on this, so it makes it kind of weighty. And I didn't fold that up all the way, I can tell, because my pleat didn't go all the way down to the line. But that's okay. Doesn't really affect the outcome too much. But you'll do a better job than me. All right, that was pleat 2. Okay, do you see what I mean here? I didn't get it all the way down here, so I didn't fold it. I folded it too little. So go to the back, and we're gonna fold down at this pleat. Again, lightly finger press across this whole strip. It'll make your life easier. Tape, tape, over. This time our fabric is coming over this way. Okay, fold down. Don't fold too hard. You do not want to pull your stitches out. Finger press. All right. I'm way back here now. All right, and now here's our third and last pleat. And I'm sorry, I somehow dropped my D-ring strip. Okay. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. Okay, we're gonna skip the next couple of steps because if you're gonna put a D-ring on this side, and I'm doing a horizontal bag, so I want my D-ring on the top. So I'm gonna skip. These are the tack down stitches. All right, and now I'm gonna do this. Okay, I'm gonna run the placement line, and it's gonna be hard to see because it's the same color as my tape. I'm sorry about that, but you'll be able to see it on your machine. And I do have a couple of places where I have a travel stitch where it'll stitch across at the top, just because I don't want it to run into my D-rings. Okay, I'm going to take this off so I can get to those. Okay, and right here, 1, 2. Okay, I've already made my D-ring strips on my sewing machine, but if you're not using a sewing machine, you can use vinyl or not vinyl, but ribbon. Ah, why is this not cutting? I have tried to cut, I'm off camera, but I'm trying to cut this string and it won't cut. So I'm going to line up my, I'm going to center it over this. I'm going to line it up so that the top of my hardware is right on the top of this seam. That way I'm assured that my presser foot will clear it. And then I'm going to tape this down. Ah, sorry about that. tape it down. Where'd it go? There it is. And I think I'm going to end up taping through this, sewing through the tape. But that's okay because we don't want the presser foot to get caught on the seam of the fold of the tape, or do not want the presser foot to get caught on the fold of the tab. I'll show you what I mean in just a second. So I'm not articulating it well. Okay, so here's my other one over here. I'm going to center it over there so that this is even there. And I'm going to tape it over here. I'm actually going to adjust this one. So where the actual basting tape is, it's going to stitch there again. So we want to be able to have it, the presser foot, to smoothly travel over this and not get stuck at the rib. And this is going to be the base down, and like I said, it's probably going to go through the tape. Oops, my thing just fell off. It's probably going to go through the tape, but that's okay. You can take it out. And I didn't center mine very well because I can tell. But it's okay, it's going to get caught in the... This is a travel because my machine, when I'm doing the other designs, it shoots down. Oh, the thread came undone. It shoots down in order to travel, and it was getting cut up on there. So I added a travel so it keeps going. What is the deal? Now I know I have a 90 in here, but that's not why it's not threading, because it auto-threaded earlier before I had it. So I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know why sometimes the auto-threader works, but sometimes it doesn't. That's a very big complaint. It's going to try and redo those stitches real quick, so I'm just going to kind of skip through. I don't want it to try and redo those stitches, so I'm just going to skip over to the other side. Alright, here we go. Alright. Alright, we're almost done. Believe it or not, we are almost done. We're going to remove this tape out of the way. This would have been a better time for the transport tape because it doesn't get stuck as much. Okay, now we're going to flip over to the back, and we're going to fold up on our last pleat. And this lining should go all the way up to the top of the bag now. Oops, don't drop it. Okay. So we're going to make sure it's lined up down here. The more even our pleats are, the better the final result's going to be. And you see it went all the way up to the top. So tape down so it doesn't come undone. And if you need to tape it a little bit better once you turn it over, that's fine. We're going to go ahead and take this tape off right now because it needs to be out of the way after this step. I'm going to go ahead and press this really hard with my finger. Now this is a cloth bag, so I'm going to iron it afterwards. But if you're using vinyl, you obviously can't iron the vinyl. So make sure you use some device to press that. And actually this is as thick. I wanted to test this, but this actually ends up being as thick as the vinyl was. So I hope that we don't have an issue here stitching this down. I'm going to tape the sides because I don't want it to come up. I'm taping it to the frame. Hopefully my battery life is still good. Oh, I did get the little battery warning, but that's okay. Because we're almost done. Again, I'm going to tape this down over here. No, I haven't moved the zipper pull yet. You'll see. Okay. Now it's going to run 2 stitches over here. See, there's something, this table is a little bit too tall on the end. This is going to do a double run because normally I would be doing a tack down and then a top stitch. But the nature of this style of top open bag, I can't do that. So I want to make sure we have a secure zipper top. And there's going to be a lot of pressure on the zipper because of the top open zipper nature of it. So you're going to be opening it and pulling on it with the straps and everything. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on with this thread. All right, let's see if we can get through this done. While I'm doing this, just as a helpful hint, if you have trouble lining up that zipper the first time on your stabilizer, get yourself some Wonder Tape. It's water soluble. It'll wash off when you wash something. Tape, double-sided tape, and it really helps to hold it, and then it doesn't gum up your needle. I do like the permanent double-sided tape, but that can sometimes gum up your needle. Okay. All right, almost done. One more step after this. You're going to ignore the last step that's indicated in red. Oh, I don't know what happened. It seemed to hit something there. I think it got stuck. The thread is stuck there. Again, I don't know what happened. I don't know how that happened, but it actually got stuck around the loop. Okay. So, here's the trickiest part of the whole bag. We need to move the zipper pull over inside the bag. So we're going to reach inside here and we're going to push it in. And it's a little tricky because we have that D-ring in there. So just hold it on here. Can you see what I'm doing? I hope so. Yes, you can. Hold in here and reach in there and try not to pull. Oh, I just pulled up my pleat. That's okay. It's going to get stitched over, but try not to do that. I don't know what happened. My pleat came undone. Try not to do that. It's very helpful if you have like these hemostats or a seam ripper and you can get inside there and move it. It's tricky, but it's totally doable. You just need to get it about halfway over. Just enough to get inside when we turn it. Okay, that's good. I'm going to go back down. And because that came up over here, I don't want that to happen, to get stuck. I'm going to put a piece of tape back down. Again, that's just the pleat. It's fine because it's going to get stitched over, but try not to do what I just did. Now, I'm actually going to run a line of tape around the bottom seam only because I haven't done this yet with this thick of a Decoville, and I don't know if my presser foot is going to try and jump up there when it moves. So I want to make sure it's held down. You may not need to do that. This is a Janome thing. It's a weird Janome trait. Okay, I'm flipped around and get back. Again, make sure you check underneath after all that maneuvering that you didn't dislodge the material underneath, because that would be very sad. It's not the end of the world, but it would be very sad. All right, let's see if we can get this to thread. I'm running out of time. Nope, gotta go get my son. I think that might have been what happened, why it got looped up in there, because I think it came out of the hole in the back, or the last little spring that holds it in place. Okay, last step. This is where having a 90 needle is very helpful, and I'm going to if I can find it, use these hemostats just to kind of guide it. Don't ever put your finger in there. Okay, and this is the part I'm worried about because it has to come over to the other side. Oh, yeah, that's what it's worried about. Okay. Okay, I'm going to turn this off and restart it, and I'm going to put a travel step in there. If you do not turn it off and restart it when it gets hung up like that, it's going to not start in the right place. See, it got hung up on this. I'm not even going to restart it. I'm reloading the design because I don't want the memory in there. Okay, and I'm just going to go backwards with it off the hoop, and I'm going to push through that section. But I'll put a travel stitch so it'll come up here and then over here. This is my third test of this, but it's the biggest bag I've done, so that's why I wasn't prepared for that to happen. And I can see the little cursor on my screen here to know that I'm moving through this. All right. Make sure my bottom didn't come undone. Oops. Something's sticking there. Oh, the timing, the dog is having a fit. But we're almost done. Okay, last step. And again, if you need to coax your material. Oh, what happened? Okay, it didn't grab the bobbin that time. I'm going to have to redo this step. It does back stitch, but just to be safer, I want to redo it. Because I don't know what happened there. I'm just going to do that one little section and stop it. Oops. Oops. No, 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 no. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. I didn't realize that's what you could do when you're traveling. You can just hold the needle up. If your machine does that. See what I'm doing? I'm holding this up in the back and it's pulling it right over the D-rings. So if your machine's capable of doing that, that's a way to get around that issue with it hitting the D-ring. Okay, that was just the section I needed, so I'm going to stop it now. Okay, you're going to skip the last step. You're not going to run up the last step. Take off all the tape. Front and back, and before you want to hoop it, make sure it all stitched properly on the back. It did. Okay. Remove your clips. I hope I haven't run out of battery. All right. I'm going to tear off this extra stabilizer off the camera. Don't need that. And this is a case where you can actually use tear away because you are actually able to get inside here and tear out that from your lining. All right. Okay, I'm going to go around and I'm going to trim and leave a 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around. And I'm going to do it from this side so I can, this side so I can see the thread. So 1/4 inch all the way around. Since this is lined, you don't need to leave extra zipper tape, but I do want to leave extra tabs. So I'm not going to cut those tabs off, so I'm going to pull this back and leave the tabs longer because they take a lot of pressure, and that way if they start to tear out, it starts to tear there, you can mend it and they won't come all the way undone. So I'm just pulling them out of the way, trimming the front, and I'll flip it around and do the same thing on the back. Pull it out of the way. You can actually just kind of hold it up like this Again, about a 1/4 inch. When you're doing vinyl, usually you do 1/8 of an inch just because the vinyl is so thick. But cotton, you need that extra strength, the extra length of fabric. So leave it a little bit longer, 1/4 inch. Okay, that side's done, this side. And then we're gonna trim off at a 45-degree angle the top corner. And the Steckelville is kind of hard to go through. Now again, we don't want to cut into, we want to leave a 1/4 inch seam. I'm actually leaving a 1/2 inch seam with to turn this, or I'm sorry, to close it. It just makes it easier. If you only leave a 1/4 inch, it will fray and sometimes you can't get it. I'm not going to trim the corners down here. I'm only going to trim the corners up here. Just slightly trim them off. Don't cut into your thread. And I don't need these tabs to be quite this long, so I'm going to trim them a little bit and leave about a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch. Okay? Now, this is the fun part. Reach inside here and turn the bag out. And this hole's a little bit thick, small. I messed up. I will fix that in the final release. So it's a little bit easier for you because this is such a wide bag. And just turn, pull it out. And the hemostats help with this, but I have a hard time doing those when I'm on the camera with you. So I'm just going to keep working it. If you've ever pulled a bag out, birthed a bag, it's no different. Just keep working at it until you get it out. The Steckelville light makes it a little bit more firm. If I do tear the stitches, it's not a huge big deal because you're going to close that hole up anyway. So if you have to tear them to get it open. I thought they looked a little bit long when I was stitching it. So, but the good thing about this bag actually is if you want to do it in unlined bag with no fray edges, you don't even need to use the lining. You can skip that whole step of seaming the lining and just do all the steps the same, just don't have the lining on the back. And it's going to have the same result. So that's the one nice thing about this is the one same pattern is the lining and the unlined at the same time. So you don't have to have a lot of different files. And I'll make note of that in the PDF. Okay, so I almost got it. Now, the zipper is going to be a little bit harder because you couldn't get your hand in there very far. So you're going to have to reach in there and get it undone. And I skipped a step. You should have torn the stabilizer out while it was still hooped. It's a little easier to do that. Okay, I got it. Push everything out that you can. And then I'm going to remove the stabilizer from the zipper area. And pull it out. Sometimes you can get a hold of that middle thread and it'll pull it all out. I'm going to clean this up a little bit better later. Now reach inside and undo your zipper the rest of the way. And this was a really wide bag, so I didn't have the need to tape down the hardware. But if you are working on a very narrow one, I would tape that down so when you reach inside you have to redo their D-rings. So then what you're going to do is you're going to close this seam up. I always do that last. It means you have to double turn. But I like to make sure if I need to access inside this lining to turn out the seams, I can do that. What time is it? Oh, good. I'm working on good time. I was hoping to leave at 5 o'clock. It's 4:57. All right, and then just work out. Now, you want to be careful when you get to the pleats because you don't want to undo your pleats. And I'm going to show you what I mean. So let's get this all out. All right, and there you go. See the pleat there? This is what forms your flat bottom. And when you iron it, you can make sure that it's nice and neat and iron it. And you'll see that where the seam ends here is the bottom of your bag. and then you just turn it around, get the corner out here from the zipper, and this is where the hemostats that I just misplaced. What did I do with those? Did you guys see? All right, I'm going to use the other end of this, but if you get in here, you can pop that end of the zipper out. And this side doesn't really pop out very much because it's already open. Just make sure the stabilizer's removed. Then close your bag. I have a little bit of stabilizer caught in there, sorry. All right, oops, let me make it pretty and neat for you. So you're gonna, of course, go take this to the iron and iron it when it's cotton. And make sure you get all the stabilizer out of your zipper. And then you work this through and get it straight so that it's even on both sides. And then what you're gonna do is with your iron, you're gonna come through here and make your box bottom and iron it flat. See, it's not over here, it's not flat all the way, it's not pushed out yet. Push that out all the way, get inside if you have to, and then once you iron it and push it out, and then the same thing over here, get inside. This is the corner you're looking for, and this is the corner. Make sure that's all the way pushed out. You see that? You should see a nice little triangle at both ends. And then you'll get with your iron and press this on both sides, and it just gives that extra, it helps keep the shape to your bag. And it's not right here, my pleat is off. Oh, you know why? That's probably where, remember, my pleat came undone. So that's probably what's going on here. I'll fuss with that a little bit later. But there you go. You have a flat bag. This side's not right. Should be even. But you'll fuss with it a little bit more with your iron. But you get a flat pouch with a nice opening inside. So you have a lot of room in here, all done entirely in the hoop. And you'll see that the pleats will actually form on the other side as well. Ta-da! And this definitely needs iron because I wrinkled it from the turning. There you go. I hope you guys enjoy this pattern. And, oops, I got a little bit off site there. Hope you enjoy it. This is a great pouch for a crossover size, and put a strap on it, and it has room for everything you need in it. Oh, there's what it looks like from the side. That might light help. And that's it. Have a good day, guys.